Hey there, my name is Emma, and my life hasn't turned out the way that I originally had envisioned, but I would not trade it for anything in the whole world. Let me explain. Growing up, I had thought that I would go off to school, and when I graduated that I would meet someone amazing and that we would get married and be extremely rich and happy. My brother Kevin would make fun of me for this and tell me that I was living in dream world. Meanwhile, he would tell me all about how he would one day be a famous athlete and that he planned to own mansions, luxury cars, and travel the world while I would be stuck living in a shack. Unfortunately, our father didn't help with this because he encouraged Kevin to think that he would be a huge success. The two of them would travel all over the country, going from tournament to tournament. Kevin was on youth travel hockey team, and they were actually pretty good. But if I'm being honest, Kevin was only a mediocre hockey player. A lot of people kept telling him that he was going to be famous, but those were also the people that wanted to sell him the most expensive hockey gear and training. It was in their interest to keep him hooked and playing. Hey Kevin, so what is your backup plan though if hockey doesn't work out for you?
Backup plan? Why would I need one?
Well, there is a very real chance that you might not make it to the professional level. What if that happens? What will you do?
Well, that won't happen. I'm going to be famous, and then I'll rub that fame in the noses of people like you that didn't believe in me. Listen, I'm sorry that you're so pathetic, and that you'll never amount to anything worthwhile in life. But that's your problem. I'm sorry that you're such a loser.
It was incredibly annoying, both because he was so convinced of his own future fame despite being so mediocre, but also because he was telling me that I wouldn't amount to anything, and that he was going to lord over his success over me. Here was my own brother telling me that I was a loser, and that I always would be one. It was incredibly hurtful. The years passed and Kevin's dream never faded. I, however, focused on my own path and got accepted into college. And when I graduated, I was over the moon to find a job as an accountant for a large firm. I wasn't rich, but I was making a good living and just enjoying my life. The only real problem was that I was rather unlucky when it came to love and dating. I met several guys, but none of them really ever seemed like marriage material. Kevin, however, kept up with his training and playing and was much less picky about who he slept with. Then, one day, Kevin got a call from someone he had been with and was told that she was pregnant. He, of course, wanted nothing to do with her and told her as such, and so we didn't hear from her until it was time for her to give birth. There were complications and the woman tragically passed away during childbirth. Since she had no family, Kevin was asked to take care of the newborn baby boy, but he wanted nothing to do with him. As soon as I saw Justin, I knew that I wanted to take care of him. I loved him at first sight, and so I volunteered to adopt him and raise him as if he was my own. Kevin agreed and washed his hands of both Justin and myself, and he refocused all his energy on furthering his hockey career. A couple years passed, and Justin and I were incredibly happy. He was such a curious child and full of energy, and I truly loved him and wanted him to have the best childhood possible. I made sure to follow Kevin's career so that I could tell Justin all about his father when he was older, but then tragedy struck again and Kevin was injured during a game. The injury was so bad that it ended his career and left him using crutches for the rest of his life. After that, I fully expected to hear back from Kevin, but he contacted me even less. From what I knew, he ended up getting a part-time job in a grocery store and pretty much fell off the radar. As for Justin and I, we were incredibly happy, and when he was old enough, he asked if he could play hockey just like his father had, and although I was reluctant, I just couldn't say no.
Please, Mom, I really want to play hockey. It looks like so much fun.
I know, sweetie, but I don't want you to get injured.
I'll be extra careful. Please.
I couldn't say no to him. And he did end up being a natural. He was as comfortable on skates as he was walking around, and it didn't take long for the coaches to notice his raw talent. As he grew older, that talent only grew. And soon enough, coaches started to tell me that Justin really had potential to go far. This worried me as I had known that Kevin had been told similar things and that his own career had been ended early because of an injury. But Justin was so in love with the sport that I just couldn't say no. I did insist that he create a backup plan, though, so that if a career in hockey didn't pan out, that he had something to fall back on, and he agreed. He took a lot of financial and accounting classes as well as trained hard to play even better. I was so proud of him that his mind was sharp and not just his skills on the ice. Then the day came and he was drafted by a national team. Part of me was very worried, but I knew that no matter what happened, that he would be okay. Even if his hockey career didn't pan out, he had something to fall back on. However, the day after it was announced that he was drafted, my brother showed up at our house. Part of me suspected that he would, but I was secretly hoping that he wouldn't.
Hi there, guys. I know it's been a while.
A while? I haven't seen you in years.
I know, but I'm here now and I want to make up for lost time.
How convenient. Just when Justin is drafted.
That's not the case. It isn't? Well, why didn't you visit before now, Dad? You know who I am? Of course I do. Mom told me all about you. She never hid from me the fact that I was adopted and who my birth parents were. Well, thank you, Emma. I appreciate that.
Both Justin and I were skeptical about Kevin's sudden reappearance, but we wanted to give him the benefit of the doubt, and so we allowed him to come into our home and started reconnecting with him. It was going fairly well until one day I noticed that Justin was acting a bit down, and so I asked him what was bothering him. Hey, sweetie, what seems to be bothering you?
It's nothing really. It's just, well, it's little things.
Like what?
Well, like whenever I go out for a meal with my dad, he has not once offered to pay. It's always assumed that I will, and he has started to come to my practices as well, and he keeps saying things that wish that he wouldn't.
What is he saying?
He keeps saying that I need to do better and try harder, or else we'll end up poor.
Yeah, I can see why that is bothering you. I'll have a talk with him. I had a feeling that Kevin had only come back into our lives because he saw Justin as a way to live better. The fact that he just assumed that Justin would be a source of wealth for him was something that I was hoping wouldn't be the case, but Kevin's actions proved my suspicions to be true. The next day, Justin and I confronted him. Kevin, if you're only interested in being in Justin's life just so you can ride on his coattails and enjoy his success, then you need to go back to wherever you came from. Yes, he is your son, but he does not owe you anything.
Dad, how dare you? I'm not just here to take his money. I want to spend time with him. Then why do I always pay for us when we go out? Why did you ask me for money so you could buy a condo?
Justin hadn't told me about that, which made me annoyed, but at the same time, I wasn't the least bit surprised. A condo? Oh, Kevin, have you no shame?
It's just a condo. Besides, Justin will be raking in money soon enough. He can afford to help his old man out. Besides, he wouldn't even have a hockey career if it wasn't for me.
What are you talking about?
It's just a condo. Besides, Justin will be raking in money soon enough. He can afford to help his old man out. Besides, he wouldn't even have a hockey career if it wasn't for me. Well, Dad, that's just it. I'm not your son. This is my mother, and she has been there my whole life. Unlike you were never there for me. Not for my first day of school, and not for any other important moment either. And now that I am becoming a professional hockey player, you suddenly show up and expect me to give you money. Well, guess what? You can stay in my life, but I will never give you a single penny. What? But you owe me. No, I don't. I don't owe you a damn thing.
I could see Kevin getting very angry, but just as I was worried that he was going to do something, he stormed off. The next day, though, I went with Justin to go to his practice. As we were approaching the building, a hooded man ran towards us and was wielding a metal pipe. I was so afraid, but I saw the man coming and lunged at the man just as he was about to swing the pipe at Justin. We tumbled and rolled on the ground for a few seconds, but as we were getting ready to stand up, security from the arena showed up and restrained the man. As they pulled back his hood, they revealed that it was Kevin, and he had an angry and wild look in his eyes. Have you lost your mind, Kevin? You were seriously going to attack Justin?
Yes. If he won't share his wealth, then I'll punish him for being selfish. He'll have a crappy life like I was forced to have. If I can't have his wealth, then neither can he.
The security guards punched him several times as he fought to break free from their grip, and eventually police showed up and took Kevin away. That same day, we filed a restraining order against Kevin and even hired some security guards to follow us around. We did file charges against Kevin, and thankfully the judge in our case agreed with our assessment and sentenced him to a few years in prison. The judge had decided that there was enough evidence to support the fact that Kevin had been stalking Justin and I, and that he had intended to gravely wound his son. If I wasn't fast, I won't have been able to stop him before he hurt Justin. Regardless, even after he got out of prison, he attacked us again and ended up going back to prison, both because of the attack and because he violated the restraining order. I tried to understand what had made him so jealous and angry, and then I looked into his life. After he had been injured and couldn't play hockey anymore, Kevin was forced to try to get a job, but since he had no degree or skills, he was forced to get very low-paying jobs at stores and restaurants. Rather than learn from his mistakes, he grew bitter and turned to drugs and alcohol to make himself feel better, but they only fueled his resentment. And when he saw that Justin was getting to have the future that he had always wanted for himself, he became jealous, and so he tried to find a way to reconnect with him so that he could live off of Justin's fame. When we confronted him about this, he grew angry over the fact that we wouldn't share in Justin's wealth, and so he decided that if he couldn't have Justin's wealth, then neither would he. I've kept an eye on my brother over the years, and even tried to reach out on several occasions, but sadly, he has only grown more bitter as the years have passed, and his addictions have only made him both physically and mentally unwell. So much so that I expect to get a phone call every day that he has passed from an overdose. Justin, however, is doing fantastic. His team loves him and has nurtured his ability to play. In fact, his team is doing so well that they might win the championship this year. Even though I never asked, Justin makes sure that I am well taken care of and protected. He has even bought a massive house and wants me to move into the house on the same property so that I can have my independence while he can keep an eye on me as I grow older. So yeah, my life hasn't turned out like I thought it would, but I wouldn't change a thing. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe.